Hi there, and welcome to my study. I'd like to invite you in to have a little chat about His Nesting Place. My name is Dave Householder. I'm the senior pastor at Robinwood Church in Huntington Beach. We're a brand new congregation. We're a couple of years old. We're a church plant, and we just moved from rented space in a school to a new warehouse up on the corner of Bolsa Chica and McFadden on a street called Argosy, 5082 Argosy. And we are just thrilled to be growing in spirit and growing in faith and growing in our relationship with His Nesting Place. In a couple of hours, I'm going to leave this study to drive up to Palm Desert to go have dinner at the home of Michael and Stephanie Landis with C. Everett Koop. And I'm just so blessed to be invited to go to dinner there. I've never met the man before, but of course he's a rock star in the pro-life movement. And he wrote the book Free to Live, Free to Die with Francis Schaeffer way back when. And a lot of you may not know that he was an amazing pediatric surgeon in Philadelphia for decades before he ever was called upon by Ronald Reagan to be the actual Surgeon General. And he was doing heroic things to save the lives of children. And it's anecdotally said that he was in the cafeteria talking with others about the lengths that they had gone to save the lives of children, and then someone mentioned that down the hall, abortions were being performed on healthy babies. And that stirred something very deep inside of this man. And that's when he came up with the book with Francis Schaeffer and got involved in the protection of lives of the unborn. But I would just like to talk to you a little bit about the nature of our ministry with His Nesting Place. Robinwood Church is not a complicated church. We're a church that's really quite simple. And we have chosen, the elders of our church have chosen to have just one mercy ministry. We're not going to do a whole bunch of different things. There's an old proverb that says if you dig 1,000 wells a foot deep, you're never going to get oil or water. And so we decided as a congregation to just have one mercy ministry. And we prayed about it and we thought about it, and we wanted to have a high impact mercy ministry. And that's where we came up with the idea of connecting through Luther and Susie Nelson to their dear friends Al and Judy Howard to His Nesting Place. Because if we're just going to have one ministry, we want to make sure it's a good one and a ministry with high impact. And His Nesting Place has done so much and has such a track record of saving lives. I believe it's 5,000 or 6,000 lives now that have been saved by giving women a choice. So many women have abortions, and they don't have abortions because they're pro-choice often. It's because they feel they have no choice. And His Nesting Place has done such a great job of giving them alternatives to take care of them, to provide for their children so they can work, to train them, to take care of their basic needs. And we want to be a part of that at Robinwood Church. In fact, the very top of our offering comes out of our general fund and goes to His Nesting Place. A percentage of every dollar that comes in for offering at Robinwood goes to His Nesting Place. And we would like to raise that next year. We haven't decided the number it's going to be, but we very much would like to raise that amount and that percentage for next year, because we want to be partners with His Nesting Place and not just see it as a charity or as a ministry that does good. So we're moving, at least I'm moving personally, from a real political, practical pro-life stance, and I would vote pro-life, and I would occasionally go to pro-life demonstrations, but I've never actually been involved in a ministry like this that takes care of the needs of women, and I think that that's so important. In our congregation, I would guess that almost half of the women in our congregation have had an abortion, and that's probably true in many of the congregations that we serve. And so we've got a real soft spot for women and the difficulties they have and the tough choices they face. And we want to give them every opportunity to choose to save the life and to the life of their unborn child and to give birth to that child. So it's our exclusive mercy ministry. I'm moving more from a political activist kind of role for me personally to a more practical role. I want to really make a difference with people who are making a difference. Michelle Patstone at our congregation at Robinwood Church has done a great job of putting together a team, because we're going to try to connect with His Nesting Place at every level. My goal is that every child, every junior high kid, every high school kid, every young adult, every family, every senior at our church would know what our mercy ministry is, and that each of them would know somebody at His Nesting Place, both who works there and somebody also who is going through being helped by his nesting place. My dream is that in our congregation, everybody will have a chance to help some of these women, or at least one of these women, into the transition into everyday life. That's a ways down the road, but we're going to get there. And what I'd like to invite you to is more focused support. I would like to invite you to join us in making his nesting place your primary mercy ministry in your congregation. Isaiah 9:7 says that his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, and of the increase of his government there shall be no end. Christ will rule, and I do believe that someday the United States of America will look back at abortion the way we look back at slavery. We can be victorious in this because Christ is going to be victorious. In this world we have trouble, but have courage, John 16:33 says, for I have overcome the world. Thanks for listening.